The Unification mod for Dawn of War Soulstorm is one of the craziest mod packs that I have ever seen. The sheer amount of new content in this mod can be overwhelming, with the extensive list of new races and all the new units, and the massively improved AI. It can be a little bit difficult to first get a handle of this game, so we're going to go through today, play the Space Marines in hard mode, and just give you an idea of how exactly you're meant to play this game for people who are not totally familiar with the Dawn of War series or are pretty new to RTS games. So by the end of this series, you should have a pretty good idea of how to beat Dawn of War Soulstorm, the Unification mod, in hard mode. Don't forget to leave a like on the video. It helps other players just like you who are learning to play the Unification mod find the video. One thing that you need to do before you start the game is just make sure you go into the sound settings and turn off randomized sounds. Now, this is actually due to a glitch that's in the base game that causes the game to crash, so I just turned this off. The Unification mod still has this glitch, it doesn't fix it. It's best just to disable this, and then you're not going to have any issues there at all. Alright, new game, hard mode, Space Marines. Now, RTS games are like trying to juggle a bunch of different balls all at once, or spinning a bunch of different plates. So I'm going to do my best to explain what I'm doing, but at some points in this, it might get a little bit chaotic, so you're just going to have to bear with me. Oops, I'm clicking on the wrong buttons while I'm explaining things. We're going to start by reinforcing our units. So we get a special deep strike unit for being Space Marines, which essentially just means we can get bonus units that we can bring into combat with us. So we're going to bring in 2 squads of Space Marines, and then we're going to jump into the easier of the 2 missions here, so we can unlock another squad of veteran units. Alright, so I'm going to try and explain what I'm doing as we go, but you're just going to kind of have to bear with me here for a few things as we get stuff going here. So, essentially, we're going to start training in some units to go and capture the various strategic points, because essentially, the more strategic points you get in this game, the quicker you're going to generate building resources, which is kind of essential to winning this game. So that's what we're going to start by doing here. So that going there. What you can do as well to sort of like set up a series of actions is you can hold shift and then do an action, and then essentially it will just follow that series of actions that you told them to go do. So we're building essentially power as well on the side, while we're also then capturing these strategic points and then upgrading the strategic points. I've moved my hero unit up over here because this commander essentially is going to go and try and harass the enemies, as are these guys as well. Now, we might even get ourselves another builder going now as well, because we want to ideally have as many of these strategic points as we can get as possible. Just trying to rush them, really. That's the game plan. Alright, so we're already getting into some combat here. We've got some backup coming. Let's put all these guys in one squad. So if we select them all, let's meet them up here, actually. They're getting kind of focused by a fair few guys. Ooh, there we go. Let's cut off those guys. And let's put them all in one squad. So essentially you select all the units you want, and then you hold Control and press a number. So I'm going to press 2, and now if I press 2, it brings back up those units. So I've also done the same thing with my my base unit here, my stronghold, but I've done it on 1. So by pressing 1, it's going to take me back to the stronghold. I'm pressing 2, it's going to bring me back to here. You can double tap the numbers as well to bring your screen back to these points. Now, let's make sure that we're still building as many strategic points as we can as quickly as possible. We also want to be upgrading them too, so there's kind of like the double purpose. Now, it's not a bad idea to start capturing back these strategic points. I might get another scout squadron coming up here to start breaking those points while we put the pressure on the enemy. Pressure is a very, very powerful tool in this game. If the enemy can't defend themselves, you can just destroy all their hard progress. So, being early and aggressive in this game is definitely the key. That's why I find the Space Marines are a great race to start with, I suppose, or a great faction. Because at the end of the day, you get like some very, very powerful stuff here for when it comes to like, harassing. I don't know if we can really push up there just yet, actually. It's kind of a fair bit of damage. I don't really want to lose the commander unit. We might fall back for a second, capture these. These guys aren't doing anything, so let's get them on a series of actions. You can also start moving, get you out here. Let's keep upgrading all these things. And we'll start building more Space Marines very, very soon. Oh, sometimes I get this thing where my mouse won't move the screen down like this. What you can do is you press escape and then the mouse will fix that if you ever have that problem. Not really sure what causes that exactly, but you know, it's a thing. It's frustrating, I tell you what. We need to make sure we get more plasma generators going up in here. Maybe another servitor wouldn't be a bad idea. Send this one up here. Like I say, this game is just a bunch of juggling, and I feel like when it comes to juggling most effectively in my mind, it's all about trying to generate as much resources as quickly as possible. So that's kind of what we're going for here. We're trying to deny the enemy from resources and also grab as much as we can for ourselves. There we go, and by the time we've done all this, they have a unit that's coming out that we can mess around with. Let's focus the actual shooter boys first, though. I think that's going to be an easier target than taking on their commander. Yeah, look at that. We can focus those guys out of here. Let's keep this guy going. He needs to be set up with a chain of buildings. Let's also get you doing another plasma generator, and you can do another plasma generator as well. Let's see what's going on with our units over here. Ooh, let's get them back out of the line of fire. Build a few more units in here. You might have noticed that I'm not actually usually upgrading these guys. I just turn on auto reinforce. It's a bit easier that way. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of just like spamming hotkeys on all the different units. So, you know, you can change around a few different settings for the game depending on how you want to play. That's just one of my preferences. I'm really up to you guys there on what sort of settings you want to play this game with. But this should give you a pretty good idea of how you ought to be plotting your strategy regardless of what settings you're going on. Now, we're probably going to fall back for a second here and try and hold this and upgrade this point. And then also get some extra units coming through Toot Sweet. So we really need to get some Space Marines getting built now, and we're also going to get an Armory and start upgrading our units as well. Probably a few more strategic points I can be upgrading too. Oh nice, we are also cutting them down in the meantime. Making good progress, but we are dangerously close to losing our commander unit here. What I can do to make him a little bit of a harder target, we're going to put him inside the Space Marine squad. Now they can't really be focusing him. We're also going to get this guy to move up there and go for that one. Nice. I think we missed that point, didn't we? Yep, nice. I think we should keep this guy going as well. Just got to make sure we're getting as many of these things built as possible. I don't mind setting up a bunch of these because I'll probably just ignore them for a little while after this. Alright, we got some Space Marines. We're going to put Space Marines on our numbers, a series of numbers too. So we can just go between our different squads. We got Space Marines coming in. We're going to just set the rally point right there so they're coming to us. Honestly, got a lot of resource generation. I had half a mind to build like a forward Space Marine base at this point because it seems like we've got a pretty good hold on the map, as you can see. We've been able to hold them back from getting any real expansion, so, you know, being a little bit aggressive like that is definitely not a bad idea. I'm thinking we'll move another builder up now and start moving, working on that forward base. I don't want to build it too far ahead just in case we have an issue, you know. It's always good to be a little bit safe, you don't want to be too aggressive. Now, it's been a little while since I've played this game now, so I'm just trying to remember what's the best upgrades to go with. I think, yeah, that's the one that we want to get there. It's going to increase our Space Marines' armor and health and just make them... Just makes them better. I don't know. I didn't read the full... I just skimmed it, but makes them more health and stuff. I don't know. There's a lot of lengthy descriptions for stuff, so it can be a bit overwhelming. Don't stress about it all too much while you're playing. Just, you know, grab some upgrades as you go when you can. You know, it'll work out. Ooh. Alright, you know what? We gotta push back their expansion on this side, actually. That's what we need to do. Let's get these guys to fall back. Because they're gonna get gunned down. And we'll meet up with our squadron of units here. Alright, we're gonna grab them. Grab them. Ooh, grab them. Alright, we're putting them all on one number, so we can sort of keep on top of everything. We're probably gonna get some Assault Marines right now, why not? We probably want to just work on maybe upgrading the base. Can we do that now? Oh, we already upgrading the base, that's good. Don't have too much to do then, actually. Alright, let's get you going. Like I said, we're going to build a forward base. More marine building power. Alright, nice. You can go back and do this now that those guys are murdered, I imagine. Alright. Oh, we can start getting commander units now in our squads because we've upgraded our main base to a higher level. Now, this is the rough thing about goblins. Goddamn orcs. Their goblin builders are invisible, and all of their buildings have little goblins on top. Goblins that cause us a bit of a nuisance. But that's alright. There we go. We're able to get rid of one of their buildings. Now we're going to fall back with these guys and just focus on that big mech guy right there. Let's build some extra buildings here as well in the meantime. What's the hotkey for this? U. For upgrade. That's fair. Let's get this going as well. Get that going. Honestly, we've got such a resource win at this point that it's pretty hard for them to do anything. As you can imagine, we've got a lot of units that are just coming in. I think, can we select multiple buildings at once? No, we can't do that in this game. A lot of RTSs have similar mechanics, so sometimes if you've played one, you kind of get a bit of an idea for others. You sort of just try button combinations, and it usually just works out for the best. We probably need to get some invisible revealing units, some skull probes up in here so we can see all these builders that are right down there. It's not like super important, but it's not a bad idea either. At this point, there's not really much the enemy can do. We've pretty much got them in a chokehold. We may as well keep expanding, just because in this game, when you get attacked on this level again, all the infrastructure you've built up, you actually get to hold on to it at the start of that next defense sequence when someone's trying to invade this area. So upgrading all this stuff, really, really good. Essentially, it's just going to give us a huge bonus if we do ever come to blows. Next time round. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. They didn't really have much of a chance, did they? Alright, 1 conquest. Nice. So, what sort of war gear do we want to get? Generally, for every one of my commanders, the first thing I go for is essentially the ability for them to see invisible units, but I don't think there is actually an option for that for the Space Marines. You just get the skull probes. So I think what we'll do is we'll just make them a bit tankier. Increase health and regeneration seems like a pretty nice idea. It's not a massive health increase, but the regen, it's going to be pretty good, because as we saw there, you know, it took them a pretty long time to get back to full health. Alright, so that's effectively the first turn that we've gone through in this game. Pretty good start for things right off the bat. For the next turn, we're probably going to consider going for either this spot here or this spot here. Just the easiest ones really is the way to go. I think it's going to be this squad. Now, if you made it this far in the video, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on the next episode. We're going to go through and we're going to capture every single one of these spots. We're going to make sure we have a complete dominance of this star system. So if you want to watch that whole series, if you want to see how the Space Marines acquire dominance, make sure you stick around, subscribe, and I will see you in the next episode.